It feels like last season only just finished, and yet we've already got the fixture list for the 2025-2026 season, and it just raises excitement levels just a little bit. Obviously, amongst the fan base for West Ham at the moment, there's a lot of anxiety about the season ahead. There's a lot of disappointment about the season just gone, and a lot of frustration about the lack of transfer activity so far by the club. But I don't want to talk about transfers today. I think a lot has been said about that in recent days. I just wanted to look at the fixture list, really, because for me anyway, it does raise excitement levels a little bit. It's just always an interesting thing when they come out, and you can start planning your season ahead. You can start looking at what months West Ham might do well in, what months we might struggle in. And yeah, I think it's just an interesting thing to do. It's difficult to make predictions at this stage, of course, because we don't know what type of West Ham will be turning up on Saturday, the 16th of August for our first game. And it's very difficult to know who will be starting, who will be on the bench, who will be playing for West Ham at that time, and who would have left the club. So I think predictions are something I don't want to get into, but it is an interesting thing just to look at when we play who, because objectively, it doesn't matter, right? I think a lot of you will feel like that. It doesn't really matter. You play each team twice, and everyone's plays the same amount of games, and that doesn't change. But I think timing is such a big thing in football, and there's so many things that can happen throughout a season. Sackings, transfers coming in January, European competition, European fixtures sort of having an effect on Premier League games, just winning streaks, losing streaks. I think all these things can sort of change momentum for a side, and you can face a side that has been on a terrible losing streak, but all of a sudden in the week they sack their manager, they've got a new manager, and they have that manager bounce. And that's why obviously those things are impossible to predict at this stage. But I do think timing is a massive thing, and you can start to feel what months could be a real struggle and what months you actually think we could pick up a few points. But obviously, it's all subject to change. But let's look into it, and yeah, it'd be good to get your thoughts on the fixture list we've been handed. Whether you think it's a decent run of fixtures, or you think it's actually it's come out in quite a difficult order, which is probably where I'm leaning to at the moment. So obviously, I'm sure you know already, but we start against a newly promoted team, Sunderland, away from home on Saturday, 16th of August. I don't think the TV sort of games have been decided yet. I think that'll probably come out very soon, if it hasn't already at the time of recording. So it'll be interesting to see if that game is picked for TV, because obviously it's a newly promoted side. There'll be a lot of excitement about it. Sunderland, a massive club coming back to the Premier League, and it's great to see them back as well. Just to say that I do think they deserve to be a Premier League squad. But I always want to avoid the promoted teams on the first game of the season. I think first game you want a mid-table Premier League side. The sort of perfect fixture I could think of is Wolves, either home or away. Probably given last season, maybe away is probably better. Wolves or Man United, but Man United maybe at home. I think those would be the perfect fixtures. I mean, we don't know what Man United team is going to turn up, but you want someone that is not on this wave of excitement like a promoted side, and you're not against one of the top teams where they're just they've not faced the difficulties of a season yet. Do you know what I mean? They've not faced injuries. They've not faced European sort of log of fixtures that's causing problems for their squad. They are fresh, ready to go. So I think when I look at a season, I want to, for the first fixture, avoid the big teams like City, Liverpool, Arsenal, but then also avoid the teams that have just come up, because I think it's a banana skin. It's something waiting to happen where you can think they're going to be massively up for it. Don't get me wrong, we should be up for it and we need to be up for it. But yeah, I think it's a fixture you want a little bit later when they're starting to struggle and realise how difficult the Premier League is. But I do think in a way, as I mentioned before, I think the fact that we are away from home probably does help. Obviously, last season we started at home to Villa, which again was another tough fixture. Villa, really good side under Unai Emery. And I think that was always going to be a tough fixture. And there was that sort of level of optimism, and it died out very quickly with that early Villa goal. And I think having the game away from the London Stadium might actually suit us in a strange way. I think our record under Graham Potter has certainly been better away from home than it has at home. Now, hopefully that doesn't transpire next season as well. but I don't think it's a bad thing we're away from home. I just think starting to a promoted Premier League side is always just a dangerous thing. It's a banana skin in my opinion. But let me know your thoughts on that. And then we go straight into a London derby. Our first home fixture is against Chelsea, which again, I feel like I'm going to be really negative about this fixture list, but I think that's a difficult one as well. Obviously, Chelsea are a very good side, spent a lot of money. But again, I think you want Chelsea at home sort of a little bit later in the colder months when they might not be fancying it as much, like the big players might not be up for it as much. And I think that's less of a thing these days. I think years ago that played more of an importance. But yeah, I do think they'll be massively up for it. You can imagine the sunshine in London Stadium. They'll turn up and they'll just fancy it. Again, these are just fairly loose predictions, I guess. But I think that's a very difficult start. And then Nottingham Forest away, which I actually think Nottingham Forest with European football might struggle this season. But again, I feel like August the 30th, that could be just before. I don't know when their first European fixture is. I should look that up. But that could be just before they start their European season. I think normally Europe starts in September, doesn't it? So they won't have had any of that sort of come down from that first European game. They won't have any sort of injury issues or fitness problems, or oh my god, we've played on Thursday, now we're playing again on Sunday. I don't think that would be the case. Maybe because of the more fixtures in Europe these days, it might start a little bit earlier. But I think we'll play a fresh Nottingham Forest team at the City Ground, and I think as the first three fixtures, that'll be a very difficult start in my opinion. But let me know your thoughts on the start. I won't go into every fixture, obviously we'll be here all day, but Tottenham is our next game on the 13th of September. Obviously, that could change for TV, and you would think West Ham Tottenham is usually a game picked for TV, so that might change. But home to Tottenham, our first two home games, London derbies, big London derbies. If the pressure isn't on already, if we don't do well in those first two home games, you can imagine the pressure being ramped up. And then the game after that is another home game to Crystal Palace, another London derby. So first four fixtures, first four home fixtures are London sides. So we definitely need to do well in those games. Otherwise, you can imagine the pressure just completely ramping up on Graham Potter. But yeah, then going into October, a difficult month. Arsenal away, Brentford at home, Leeds away. I think that could be a really difficult. Before I say that, actually, at end of September, we've got Everton away, which I think is a good one. I think you don't want to play them the first game away from them. You don't want to be there for the opener, but you want to play at the new ground soon enough that they might still have that sort of issue that we had at the London Stadium where you're trying to settle into your new home. So I think that's probably a good time to play Everton away. I think later in the season might be more of an issue. But yeah, October is going to be a very difficult month. But you feel like after Arsenal away, that's when we could start picking fixtures up picking points up. If we've had a difficult start to the season, we go Brentford at home, Leeds away, and then into November, 2 home games against Newcastle, which is obviously tough, Burnley at home, and then Bournemouth away before Liverpool at home. So you feel like there's a run of fixtures there where there are points to be had. And then obviously the big, busy December period, which are actually not, I think, okay. I think December is a really key month, and if you've got a really difficult fixture list in December, that can really derail a season. Particularly if you're doing well and you've not had too many injuries at this point, you can hit December and all of a sudden it can all fall apart. I think that happened for Chelsea last season. We start with United away, Brighton away, then go to Villa at home and City away, and then finish off December with Fulham at home, not on Boxing Day, the day after Boxing Day. Another lack of Boxing Day home fixture this year, and then finish off December with Brighton at home. So I think that's fairly okay. I'm not too worried about that. I think we can pick up some points in December, and then January we start off with Wolves away and Forest at home, which again feels okay as a fixture list at this time. Again, these are all pretty futile predictions, to be honest, because a lot can change from now until then. But yeah, I think it's an interesting run into February. Again, I think February and March are fairly okay. Actually, March could be a difficult one with Fulham away, City at home, and Villa away. But I think February and April are the 2 months that, if we are in a relegation battle, which, to be honest, if I'm being completely honest with myself, I think we will be at this stage. Hopefully we won't. Hopefully enough comes in the transfer period that we actually have a strong squad and we go into the season with a little bit more hope than we do now. But if we are in around the bottom, I think February and April could be key months for us to pick up some valuable points, because I do think, and this is another key one, the start, December and May for me are always the months that I look at as like, these are key months. And I think August is a bad one. It's a difficult start. I think December is an okay run of fixtures, but I think the end of the season is also going to be difficult. We go to Brentford away. We know what kind of fixture that is. That's a tough place to go. Obviously, they'll have a new manager again, lots of different changes going on, but you still imagine it's going to be a tough trip. Arsenal at home, which we know is always going to be a difficult game. Newcastle away, St James's Park, we don't have a good record, although we did win there last season. That's another tricky place to go. And then Leeds at home, which could be selected on TV for the wrong reasons. It could be a relegation 6-pointer, which I really hope it's not. I hope that we have a great season and we're not even thinking about that kind of stuff. But yeah, that could be Leeds United at home at the end of the season could be absolutely massive. But yeah, so I think all in all, like I said before, you play each team twice. That doesn't change. You're going to play 38 games in a season. That won't change. And if we're a good enough side, we will show that throughout the season. It doesn't really matter when and where we play these teams. If we're good enough, we will do okay. But as I say, I think lots of things change throughout a season, and timing can be crucial. And when you play certain teams, particularly, like I say, through the winter months, December and January, where maybe there's a few injuries in the squad, maybe there's a run of poor form, that can be really key who you're facing to try and get back into some winning ways. But yeah, let me know your thoughts. I think it's always interesting. Again, there's not much to it at this point, but it is an interesting thing to look at. Let me know your thoughts on the start. Do you think it's a difficult start like I do, or do you actually think Sunderland away is a good one to kick off with? We could get 3 points there, and away at Forest we could get 3 points, and then Chelsea at home is always a big game that there's a chance for 3 points. So you might feel differently to me. I think it's a difficult start, but let me know what you think. And again, the end of the season, do you think it's a tough run in, and that if we need points we might struggle, or do you think it's actually not too bad? Let me know your thoughts. Enjoy the sunshine. It's been a good week of sunshine, not a good week of transfers. Hopefully we get some more activity as the days continue. But until then, have a good one. Up the end.